What's up, everybody? It's PB here, and I am back with another review for Stargirl, Episode 2, S.T.R.I.P.E. That spells stripe. Or at least, that's what I'm told it's spelled. I'm not the greatest with words. Well, sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. So, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe. If you're excited to talk about Stargirl, go ahead and hit that like button. And let's get into it right away. We'll start with a little overview of the episode without any spoilers, and then we'll get into the spoilers. Episode 2, you're not introduced to a whole lot of new characters. There's some new introductions, but it's a good continuation. It picks up right where the last one left off. There's still a whole bunch of action in it. Enough exposition that you still are learning stuff about the characters, but not too much that it's bogging the show down. Not to mention, this show has an excellent soundtrack and score. It never kicks in too early to give away whether or not someone's doing something devious or whether something exciting is going to happen. It kicks in at just the right moment. So whoever is taking care of that on the show end, kudos to them. So yeah, episode 2, really damn good episode. If you haven't seen it yet and you are concerned about spoilers, this is the time where you can dip out, because I'm going to spoil the ever-living shit out of the episode, because there's definitely a fair amount of things that happen. So now we'll get into the spoilers. The episode picks up right where the last one left off. Courtney standing in front of Pat inside of his, let's call it, mech warrior car? I mean, it's a transformer, kind of, but it's not really a transformer because it's not its own autonomous being, but it turns from a car into a robot, so that's fucking awesome. So she hops onto him, they get out of there to safety, and then they have a whole conversation about what's going on and how he was coming back to Blue Valley years ago. That's what he was doing there, and he was helping somebody from the old JSA to hunt down people from the ISA, because that's what they do. The good guys actually go after the villains in this show, unlike some other shows on the CW. Maybe that has something to do with it being a DC Universe show, but I digress. Anyway, Brainwave, he just can't sit on his hands. He starts calling all his buddies that are still around from the ISA. That's the Injustice Society of America. What a great name, by the way, guys. Way to go. Way to go. Way to be original. I'm so glad that Courtney, Stargirl, in the show, points out how terrible they are with coming up with names. That was frickin' hilarious. Anyway, he's calling all the old people. He's going over to their houses in the middle of the night hey man, we gotta take care of this problem. There's a new Starman out there. And they keep saying Starman, Starman, which, from their perspective makes sense, because they only fought a Starman. They don't know 100% what's going on yet. But then they find out that it is a girl. Which, holy shit, that blows his mind a little bit. He wasn't expecting to be, fighting a superhero that's just a little girl. Granted, I don't think she necessarily expected to be fighting supervillains that had killed an entire society of heroes. But anyway, you get through into the middle of the episode, and Pat's taking his robot out into the frickin' field, because he don't want to be destroying nothing except for crops. You son of a bitch, you're destroying all kinds of crops out there. And he's trying to get this robot to work, because he ain't never used it before. He built it a long time ago. He ain't never used it before this very episode. That was the first time it'd ever been out of the crate and put to good use. It runs on a V8, I'm pretty sure. At least that's what it sounds like. Sounds pretty frickin' bitchin'. Anyway, he's out there, it's not working. Shit's not working. Stuff's just, he's trying to fire his little hand off of his arm. It won't fly. And then he looks at it, boom, shoots him in the face. The last time, the whole frickin' thing starts on fire. And then him and Courtney have another discussion about how she can't be Stargirl. It's too fucking dangerous. He's going to be the one to go out there and protect them. Well, apparently that's not gonna work because Brainwave, or the doctor, I don't remember what his name is. It's not entirely important. If you watch the episode, you know who it's Dr. something. I don't remember his frickin' name. Doesn't matter. We'll call him Brainwave. He decides that he's gonna take his kid to the open house so that he can figure out who Stargirl is because he got her school ID from the fire when they were fighting, but it got all burned up. So he goes there and he's just probing people's minds, and he finally finds her and confronts her in the hallway and says, "Hey, if you don't bring me the staff by midnight tonight, I'm gonna turn your mother's head into a pile of mush, and it's gonna look like she had an aneurysm. Or melted her brain, or I don't know, like advanced stages of mad cow. I have no idea what he's going to be able to do to her brain to make it look like it was something natural, but apparently he can do that." So she goes and tells Pat, and he's like, oh my god, he's freaking out, just freaking out, big time. So he goes and gets in his robot. He's like, I'm gonna take care of this. But before I jump to the end, one funny scene that I gotta touch on because it was just so damn hilarious. She got to make the Stargirl outfit in this episode. She took the old Starman outfit, the exact frickin' thing that was in the chest in the basement, and she took it to school. And her plan is she's just gonna cut it up and then sew it to whatever she needs to. There was somewhere between 8 and 10 sewing machines in this room. She burnt out all of the motors on them. Every single one of these sewing machines just, boom, dead. No chance for survival at all. And she just walks out of the room, gives a little wink like, oh, what are you gonna do? I had to make my superhero costume. Oh man, I laughed so hard. I was like, you know what? She's not a true blue superhero yet. She's still learning the ways. Nobody said that she had to be like the Flash. She can be more like Arrow. I mean, it's Stargirl, not Starman. She can make her own path, right? Right. Anyway, look, we get to the big fight at the end. And this whole time, I've been wondering, how in the hell are you gonna be in a giant robot, Pat? Right? Like, you're gonna be in a giant-ass robot mech warrior, and you're gonna fight a guy with telekinetic powers? How in the hell is that going to work? I didn't frickin' know. Well, he shows up at this parking lot. He's like, you're not Stargirl. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, well, who are you? That's what Brainwave asks Pat, and he says, someone looking for justice. Ah, man, it was so corny and beautiful. Oh, man, it was so great. Oh, if you let me know in the comments below if you like that line or not, because I just loved it so much. So, like Luke Wilson in this role, just, perfect. Just frickin' perfect. So he's chucking cars at Brainwave, and he's tossing them to the side with his mind. Chucking more stuff at him, tossing it to the side, and I was like, I don't see this going very well. And it doesn't. He gets buried under a bus and a couple of cars, and he's just squishing the ever-living hell out of them. And here comes Stargirl, flying in on the cosmic staff. And she does the little pirouette kick that you see from all of the trailers that everybody had been dropping, and kicks that son of a bitch right in the chest. And now we start duking it out. And they start going to town on each other. and he's chucking stuff with her mind, and she's dodging it with the staff's hitting it out of the way. Like, the staff is definitely doing more of the work than she is. This staff is very well versed in combat, and she is a gymnast. Like, these are the dynamics that these two bring to the table, and when you put them together, it's fantastic. It's fantastic, people. Like, oh my god. And the outfit that she's in now? The sexy little Stargirl outfit? Oh man, it's all tight blue? Man, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, yeah, you could have done a little more to it maybe, I don't know, but I think that it looks pretty good. Anyway, they're duking it out, and he just starts chucking shit, everything from all over the place, and he finally pins her down with the bumper from a car. And, you know, she's still just a girl, and the staff gets knocked out of her hands, so it wasn't glowing anymore, which I don't entirely understand. Like, sometimes the staff can move around on its own. It came all the way out of the basement, but now when it's right next to her, it can't move on its own. So sometimes it feels like a little convenience here, writers. So I might need that to be explained a little bit, because I'll touch on one thing at the end that was explained that was a huge question for me. Anyway, he's got her pinned down, and Brainwave goes up to her, and he's like, oh man, what? Just when I thought that I had to be worried that there was another Starman around, I totally overestimated it. I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember the exact quote, but he essentially gets beaten because of his own hubris. So instead of just immediately finishing her, he goes up and he has a little chat with her, and talks a little smack, and then starts to melt her brain with his hand. Because she's just a little star girl. And holy shit, she starts screaming in agony, and nobody knows what to do. Well, I mean, there's only two people there that are fighting together. So what's Pat do? Well, what do you do when you want to stun somebody? Flash him. So that's what he does. He turns the headlights on his robot because it's a car. It's a car that turns into a robot, man. How do you not love a car that turns into a robot? Well, not really a robot. It's a mech warrior. Whatever. Either way. Turns it on and it distracts him, and she's able to reach just far enough to grab the staff, and she touches the staff to his forehead as he is using his powers and essentially short circuits his brain. Like, I don't know specifically what happened to him at all. Not one bit. Like, they say that he's in a coma, and they have no idea if he's ever going to come out of it. I don't know. If you know, you let me know in the comments if he's coming out of this coma. I have no idea. I'm not the comic expert. I just watched this TV show because it's freaking fantastic. And you should too. Like, if this review ain't getting you to watch this show, I don't know what's going to. DC Universe, CW. Even if you're watching the short version on CW, you're still gonna get all this fight. My God, it was great. So they short-circuit his brain. He's in a coma. And then we get the one big character that gets introduced into the story, technically again, because he was in the opening scene, well, kind of in the opening scene of the first episode. Icicle, who I assume is the leader of the Injustice Society because he's in the center of the mural that's painted on the wall, which I would love to know who they commissioned to paint that mural. Like, hey, we just need you to paint the mural for the Injustice Society of America. Don't worry, you'll get paid. We're not going to kill you. Like, okay, they definitely killed the person that painted that. Like, hey, we want you to paint it on this wall in here, and when you're done, we'll let you and your family go. And by let go, we mean let go into another life. So yeah, he shows up at the end and he's talking to some of the other people, and he's like, don't worry about it. I killed Starman before. I can do it again. And that's how the episode ends. And oh man, it was a damn good episode. It adds a lot more intrigue, and it didn't necessarily answer one big question I had, but it alluded to what the answer is. And one big question I had was, why in the hell are a bunch of villains in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, Nebraska? I mean, Blue Valley, Nebraska. Like, in the series premiere, they're in Los Angeles, California, the Justice Society battling the Injustice Society in a city that is populated by 1 million or a couple million people. Like, I don't know exactly what the population was on Earth 2 10 years ago. If you know what the population was on Earth 2 10 years ago, let me know in the comments below. That would be very enlightening. So either way, it makes sense that you got these big villains in a big city. That makes sense. Why the hell are all of these villains in the middle of the country doing nothing? Well, apparently they're not doing nothing. They all move there for some experimental purposes, which hopefully will be alluded to in the upcoming episodes. So, I don't know if it's going to be the next episode or if this is going to be the long play, but oh man, the intrigue is there, the action is there, the CGI is on point, it's not overused, everything looks beautiful, the story has characters that you want to root for and want to root against. Like, I didn't want to see Brainwave frickin' win. I thought he was going to be around for more of the season. Definitely got that wrong. I didn't think she was going to be taking on the whole Injustice Society of America. I thought it was just going to be Brainwave and maybe one other person, but it seems like she's going to be taking on a lot of people this season. So, look forward to more reviews of Stargirl on this channel, Pop Culture PB. So if you're new here and you stuck around this long, you probably like what I had to say. So click something that's going to show up here in a moment. So until next time, everybody, I bid you adieu. If you are enjoying the content, please hit subscribe and ding the bell for notifications. That way you will never miss an upload by Pop Culture PB.